Washington, D.C., where the whole city is buzzing about one new face, Senator-elect Scott Brown. Now, what happened when he met his new Republican colleagues on Capitol Hill? Senator Lamar Alexander went on the record. Senator, nice to see you. And
thank you, Greta.
This is, of course, the United States Senate Russell Office Building. So your office is here?
No, my office is in the Dirksen Building.
Oh, it is? So you came
Next
over
building.
here.
Well, I walked over to see you.
Thank you very much. It's very, very gracious of you. Now, you had a guest today at your luncheon.
Scott Brown.
You've met him before?
I met him 15 years ago when I was running for president in Massachusetts. He's been around a while. He was a state senator. He's run for office several times. So he's been a Republican a long time.
What kind of reception did he get?
I was trying to think of an analogy. It'd be like a family waiting for the prodigal son or someone to come home who they hadn't seen in 15 years. I mean, Republicans are overjoyed. I mean, we really think that Massachusetts helped start the country and it may have saved it this week.
Did he speak to you? I mean, speak to the group?
He did, for a few minutes, but he just said thank you, and he showed all the enthusiasm. He's still, he's been on his feet. He's been talking, and he showed, we listened carefully. I mean, we didn't try to tell him anything. We should be listening to him. And what I heard was a very independent-minded person who was elected because the voters thought, well, he'll go to Washington and he'll open up the doors, he'll make sure things are out in the open, and then, of course, he is the 41st vote against the health care bill.
Any clue when he's sworn in?
I don't know. The Democrats seem to be resigned to doing that as soon as possible. Senator Reid said that, and we appreciate that, and it's up to the Massachusetts officials. So we think, we hope soon. I hope before the State of the Union, because I think most Americans will want to see him.
All right. Now, you've been quoted as saying, sir, that about the health care bill, senators who vote for this health care bill should be sentenced to serve as governor and try to pay for it.
They should. I mean, I was a governor. I was a university president. And what I mean by that is I sat there as a governor, as did most governors. You get down to the end of the budget, and you either put the money into Medicaid or you put it into higher education. And what this health care bill did was say, we're going to expand Medicaid, but we're going to send the bill to the governors. And so Governor Schwarzenegger said, we got a $19 billion deficit. The last thing we need is another $3 billion bill in Medicaid. So I wanted to say to these 60 senators, look, if you want to vote to expand the program here and then send the bill to the governors, then go home and see if you can pay for it, because you'd have to raise taxes or you'd have to raise tuition at colleges and community colleges.
With the exception, I guess, of Nebraska, which doesn't quite have that problem.
No, with the exception of Nebraska, which is why people got so upset about Nebraska. I mean, it's absolutely true that if that bill were to pass in the form it is in Tennessee, we'd raise college tuitions and we'd raise state taxes, except Nebraska wouldn't have to, because under the Cornhusker kickback, we pay for theirs.
I'm surprised when I hear Republican senators say that. I'm surprised there isn't sort of a march on Washington by governors, because the way you paint it is that that the governors are in deep trouble with their budgets with this bill.
I was surprised that governors didn't object more. I mean, some of them, to tell you the truth, for the first 3 years, the federal government pays 100%. It's after that the big hit comes. So I think some of the governors, quite frankly, were just saying, well, this is the next governor's problem. And some of them were Democrats, and they didn't want to speak up against the Democratic Party. But some did. The governor of Tennessee, a Democrat, said this is the mother of all unfunded mandates, and he was very courageous and specific in pointing out to the people of Tennessee how much it would damage higher education if they passed the bill.
I guess I just would have expected more volume from them and more people if it's as bleak as it's painted.
Well, maybe we don't hear it because they're in their states, but and maybe I'm giving the Democratic governors a little bit of a short shrift here, because I did hear a number of them speak out. But if they speak out in Connecticut and in Wisconsin, where you're from, or Tennessee, where I'm from, it's usually not on the front page in Washington.
What's going to happen? You've got a new senator, and you've got Speaker of the House Pelosi saying today that she does not have the votes to accept the Senate version of the bill. So what's going to happen?
She would know about the House.
She said she doesn't have the votes.
She doesn't have the votes in the House.
So that's not a possibility.
And I don't think there are enough votes in the Senate for the Senate bill now. We have a new senator. And I really mean this. We've been thinking all day that Massachusetts may really have saved the nation with its election this week.
Well, do you think there'll be some tinkering with the existing bill, or do you think it's going to be scrapped and start all over, or wait a year? What's your sort of prediction tonight? And I realize it's a very fluid situation.
Some of it's up to the president. I mean, the president is still the president, and the Democrats still have huge majorities. Here's what we should do. We should scrap the 2,700-page bill that we voted on in the middle of the night and had to pass before Christmas. It was written in secret. Just throw it out. Then we should start over, and we should do what Republicans suggested on the floor of the Senate 173 times. I counted them last year. And that is set a clear goal of reducing cost and then go step by step in that direction to re-earn the trust of the American people. And we put in the first 6 steps. There were 181 pages. They were all rejected by the Democrats. There could be 6 other steps. But I think the big difference is people are tired of these comprehensive 2,700-page middle-of-the-night bills, and they want us to solve problems the way they do.
President Obama has suggested, maybe even stated expressly, that the Republicans are obstructionists. Maybe that's my word, putting words in his mouth. But he says you're not cooperating, that there's been plenty of opportunity for you to participate and cooperate. Right or wrong?
Wrong. With all respect to the president, wrong. Dead wrong. Oh, and here's, I've been around long enough. I was here as a very young person when President Johnson, the Democrat, passed the Civil Rights Act in 1968. And he did it in the office of the Republican legislative leader, Everett Dirksen. He was able to get a very controversial bill passed, and then the country looked up there and said, well, we may not like the bill, but we see the Democratic president, we see the Republican leader, and so we'll take it. The problem with this bill was the president did not give, and the Democratic leadership did not give Republicans a chance to put our ideas in it. It didn't get any votes, and the country turned on it.
So he didn't try to talk to you?
Well, he's as nice as he could be, and we all like him, but their definition of bipartisan was a bipartisan bill is a bill when you agree with me. Our definition of bipartisan is when we sit down and exchange ideas. We've laid out our 6 steps. We've laid out 4 steps on clean energy. We have a lot to say about where the country wants to go, and now perhaps we'll have a chance to say something about it.
Senator, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Greta.